Today, we look at the rise of Korea's Chaebols, massive family-controlled conglomerates like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG. These business empires helped transform South Korea from a war-ravaged land into an economic powerhouse. But in the process, they became so powerful that they now resemble modern-day aristocracies, families who rule industries, politics, and society itself. What does the Bible say about such systems? What does God think of dynasties built on exploitation, pride, and favoritism? After the Korean War in the 1950s, South Korea was one of the poorest countries on earth. The government, desperate for rapid industrialization, handpicked a few businessmen and gave them huge loans, subsidies, and exclusive contracts. These chosen families built sprawling conglomerates called Chaebols, which grew explosively by manufacturing everything from cars to electronics. By the 1980s, Chaebols had become the backbone of Korea's export-led economy, but also began to dominate nearly every aspect of life. Their leaders were treated like royalty. Their word could make or break careers. Like European aristocrats of old, they created dynasties that passed power from father to son, and wealth was concentrated in a few elite families. As Chaebols grew, so did their abuses. Labor exploitation. Workers were paid little, forced into harsh conditions, and unions were crushed. Companies blacklisted or fired organizers. Corruption and bribery. Chaebols often bought favors from politicians, leading to scandals like the 2017 impeachment of President Park Geun-hye, who was accused of colluding with Samsung. Monopolistic power. By crushing small competitors and subcontractors, Chaebols created a stranglehold on Korea's economy, stifling innovation and widening inequality. Family crimes. Heirs and executives engaged in tax evasion, embezzlement, and document forgery to secure their control, yet they were rarely punished. Courts gave suspended sentences, and presidents issued pardons, reinforcing a culture of impunity. Disregard for human lives. In some cases, safety was neglected for profit, leading to tragedies and deaths. These patterns echo an old story. When power is unchecked, it corrupts. God has always spoken against rulers who abuse power and exploit people. The Bible warns that He holds leaders accountable for how they treat the weak. Condemning exploitation of labor. Jeremiah 22:13 says, "Woe to him who builds his palace by unrighteousness, his upper rooms by injustice, making his own people work for nothing, not paying them for their labor." This directly rebukes employers who enrich themselves by exploiting workers, exactly what many Chaebols have done. Warning against pride. In Daniel 4 verses 30 to 32, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, boasted in his own greatness, but God humbled him, making him live like a beast until he acknowledged God's sovereignty. Chaebol families often display similar arrogance, believing their power makes them untouchable. Favoritism to the rich. Condemned. James 2:1-7 warns believers not to favor the rich, asking, "Is it not the rich who are exploiting you? Are they not the ones who are dragging you into court?" Favoring the wealthy over the poor leads to injustice. Yet Korean society has often bowed to Chaebol heirs, letting them avoid consequences for crimes. Defending the oppressed. Psalm 82:3 commands leaders, "Defend the weak and the fatherless, uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed." God expects those in power to protect the vulnerable, not use them for profit. The kingdom reversal. Jesus said in Matthew 20:26, "Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant." God's kingdom flips the world's hierarchies. Greatness is not found in hoarding power, but in humble service. The rise of the Chaebols reminds us how quickly economic systems can become oppressive when built on pride and favoritism. But the Bible calls for a better way: honesty, justice, and humility. As believers, we are called to expose injustice, advocate for fair treatment of workers, and remind the world that God humbles the proud and lifts up the humble. We must not bow to modern aristocracies, but stand firm in God's truth. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin condemns any people. Proverbs 14:34. Today's Chaebols teach us a timeless lesson. Earthly power may look invincible, but God sees the heart. He will judge the oppressor, defend the oppressed, and establish his kingdom of true justice.